Every Mario game is different, with unique movesets and mechanics, but all of them share a common mechanic: the ability to move. So what if that was stripped away from us? What if we could move in these games? The rules are simple. Rule 1. We aren't allowed to touch the joystick or D-pad. Rule 2. We are allowed to use any tricks we may need to complete this challenge, as long as we never touch the joystick. And Rule 3. We have to beat the first level in each game. Now, with all that out of the way, let's just start in the first game. This game is honestly not the most interesting, as we can't really move at all. This theme actually continues throughout all of the 2D games, so SMB2, SMB3, Land, World, Land 2, No Soup, No Soup Wii, No Soup 2, No Soup U Deluxe, and Wonder are all not possible because you can't really move. Now that all the 2Ds are out of the way, let's talk about the 3Ds. This is the first game where we can actually move. Kinda. You see, when Mario punches, he'll move a very tiny bit forward, which allows us to punch right up to the door our angles off. We can actually also backflip, which moves us a lot faster, but obviously the problem is that we aren't going forwards. I started to backflip until I eventually hit this tree, which could change my angle. It could also give me a short ounce of speed, which would allow me to dive, which then made me slide down the slope. This changed my angle, which allowed me to move at a different angle. Then for the next 3 hours, I was in a constant cycle of punching and backflipping until I slightly changed my angle in a random slope. I eventually got a really perfect angle where I made it onto this bridge, and I punched along this wall until I got stuck in this corner. There wasn't any way to get closer to the door, so I ended up falling in the moat. After this attempt, I went into a different save to test if I can even get in the door if my angle is perfect, and apparently I can't. Peach locks us in purgatory right at the start. We can't do anything but speak to her. I really thought we weren't going to be able to do anything in this game, but I was so wrong. Now, a move Mario can perform is a homing ground pound, which obviously homes into the nearest thing. But the thing is, we don't unlock it until we get the spin move, which is a wee bit into the game. There isn't any way to move forward, but we can backflip again. So what? We backflip until we hit the wall? Okay then. I got stuck backflipping in between this sign and the wall for a bit, but I eventually got freed. I noticed that when I backflip, Mario curves ever so slightly, which made me think for a bit that this may be impossible. Just when I thought I had lost all hope, I noticed something. For some reason in this game, when you stand still, Mario just turns until he's facing the way you're meant to go. Helpful, right? No! We can only go backwards, so if he faces the way we want to go, we can only go in the opposite way. But we can manipulate it. If we let Mario turn while we're in front of this wall, we can backflip into the wall and turn in the right direction. I did this, and then I got to the long pathway section. I wasn't facing the right direction, so I had to painstakingly bash between the two sides of this path until I got to the end. At the end, a cutscene started to play, which acted as a sort of checkpoint. I continued to backflip until I got to the courtyard, and then eventually the second cutscene. We wake up on a little spherical planet with a bunny tapping us. Our goal is to catch this bunny by chasing after it. You would think this would be easy because we can just backflip all the way around the planet and meet the bunny at the other side. But obviously it's not that simple. Mario for some reason couldn't go straight, which made catching this bunny super hard. And I did eventually chase the bunny to the end of its path, but he joins up with two other bunnies and we have to chase them and catch them. Just by backflipping, we can't get enough speed to catch them, so we can't beat this game. I'm still not fully sure if this game's impossible, because theoretically you could catch them, but I don't have the patience. If you do have the patience though, then please post it in the Discord. I'd love to see it. Going into this game, I genuinely thought that this one may be possible. It's like Mario Galaxy 1, except we don't have to chase any stupid bunnies. We start off this game in a 2D section, which makes this a lot easier because Mario can't do his stupid turn thing. We make it through a couple screens and make it to this Luma, which actually gives us the ability to spin. We make it past the 2D section and get to the courtyard, where Bowser is destroying the place. This was actually the hardest part because I kept getting stuck backflipping between the buildings and the wall. I made it to this purple toad who was running in circles, and I home and ground pounded him, which launched me towards the gate. I did some backflipping and I saw this red toad who was also running in circles, and I home and ground pounded him. I then got stuck backflipping between the fence and the wall, but I was moving super slightly. I cracked this Luma open, homing ground pounded him, and we made it to the first cutscene. After the cutscene, it placed me in a perfect spot so I could simply just backflip to these Lumas. One of them turns into a launch star and we backflip into it, which sends us into the first level. This is going well so far. Hopefully nothing bad happens. When we land, we are stuck in front of this Luma, which doesn't allow us to backflip. I thought this was over until I spun and he allowed me to move. I was stuck for a while, backflipping between the building and the fence. My goal was to get into this green pipe so it could take me to the other side of the planet, so I could jump through and get on top. This seemed like it was going to take ages until I had a genius idea. This Goomba on the other side of the fence noticed me and started to run towards me. So what I did was backflip and home and ground pound the Goomba, and it worked! I then backflipped up this mound and bashed the crystal open. A Luma pops out and the hole is revealed. This Luma is actually the bane of my existence. His talking range is extended for some reason, so I couldn't get close without accidentally talking to him. And the problem with this is we face him when talking. So there was so many times I accidentally talked to him, which would mess me up. And the worst part is once I opened the hole, the gravity became really weird and backflipping would just move me away from the hole. So I had to backflip and instantly ground pound to keep my distance. This took so long. After about 2 hours, I eventually made it up the hole and jumped down. On the other side, we land next to this sign, which we have no choice to speak to. We can't spin it into confusion because it's a sign. So this is where the game ends. At a stupid sign. I genuinely had a slight bit of hope for this game. You see, this is the first game that introduced rolling to Mario games, so I thought I might be able to roll through this entire level, but there's a broken bridge. For this game, I also had a bit of hope because you can roll, but you can also jump roll. We load into the first level and yeah, you saw it coming. This game uses the same engine as Super Mario 3D World, except we can move the camera anywhere we want. We start off facing towards this tree. This doesn't help us in any way whatsoever. We have no way to turn, so we climb into the tree, turn around, and then jump into the tower. This game is the one I had the most hope for. For one, we can roll, which allows us to move forward. We can also dive, which allows us to move up and forward. And the most overpowered thing we can use is first person. When you go into first person, you can look around with either the right joystick or motion controls. So what? You can look around. When you exit first person, Mario faces that direction. This allows us to basically move anywhere we want. We go along this path and team up with Cappy. He also just gives us a bunch of movement options. So we dive through the town and make it to this lever, which we pull and a bridge appears. We go along it and open this door, which takes us into an area where we actually learn about capturing. If we roll along to these frogs and capture them, we're actually stuck. Because the only way to move in these frogs is by the joystick. So is this game impossible? I don't think so. I'm not sure if it's possible, but you may be able to do frog skip without moving. But yet again, I don't know. So this video is kind of pointless.